Hello everyone and welcome back to the Frankenkart build. In this episode, we're going to get the supports made, hopefully pull this apart, and we might have some bits that we can put onto the main cart. Roll intro. How the hell did you manage that?
In all honesty, I have no idea.
Good morning everyone. So, we have this. I was on Facebook Marketplace last night and a guy was getting rid of this for £10. So I figured we can take this and we can use it with the Frankenkart build in true Frankenkart style and take something else, make it work on something else. With this, I'll just have a little scan over it for you and tell you what I've found. So as you can see, we have a quad bike chassis with back axle and front axle. I have noticed that obviously I'm wanting to do a direct drive steering on this. We have all the mechanisms for a direct drive steering bit, so that is going to get used. We have some suspension arms, which I may try and repurpose it into something else, and we have a rear axle with sprocket and brake. Also got a chain, an old exhaust, and the brake caliper set. Now, the interesting part is pulling this thing apart, salvaging what I can salvage, and we'll see where we're at from there. I've still got to get the metal to reinforce the chassis, but this should give me a good idea of sizing. Maybe I think some of these parts might be too small for the chassis, but I mean, we can always try and make it work and see what happens. But yeah, for now, I'm going to get this stripped down and we'll go from there. Hey. One off. Alright, first one out. Nice. Ow! Ta-da! have the rear axle out.
Shorted.
Okay, so it is all stripped down back to basically parts. So the parts that I'm looking to salvage with this is obviously the wheels. These probably will come quite in handy. There is also a direct drive system. So obviously I wanted to swap the car out for a direct drive. I now have some of the parts, hopefully, that will fit, that can turn that into a direct drive. We then go on to the back. We have the full rear axle with a brake disc and a sprocket for the gears, not for the gears, for the chain to go on. And then we have some other little bits and bats. The frame-wise is solid, but I don't need it. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with that at the moment. I do have a brake servo, so the full braking system, and an exhaust. But again, depending on what I put on this thing, depends on whether that exhaust is going to work. But the main parts we do have is obviously we now have some suspension bits, the main back axle, the direct drive, and some wheels. So hopefully by the end of this video, those will be ready and on that thing. But I mean, it's a long way out, and that still needs reinforcing. So that's enough for now. I'm going to crack on, get some jobs done, and let's hope that we can speed up the process and get the ball moving on the Frankenkart.
One eternity
Hello
later.
everyone, welcome back. So we're back on with the Frankenkart project. As you can see behind me, we have this. So this was the original front axle for the quad bike, donor quad bike. And originally I stripped it all down and I was going to repurpose the parts and create some stuff and do a hell of a lot of fabrication. However, I realised that we have a straight axle. So I can't really put suspension on it unless I build a frame around it to then be like a supported separate unit. So that's way too much fabrication for someone who has no idea what they're doing. So instead, we're opted for the front axle to have suspension. The reason that I've rebuilt this the exact same way is because the direct drive system that I want on this thing works. So what I'm planning to do is chop this down, and then we're going to try and mount that into here. So I'm probably going to have to remove this bit, but we'll make a start. Right, so I'm just going to have to start cutting this and working out as I'm going where I'm cutting. I kind of want to leave a little bit extra on this side and a bit extra up top. If I have to kind of morph it, we will do, but we'll get to cutting. Down to my last earbuds. That bit's through. Daily departed. Happy days. Okay, so with that cut, I'm going to try and see how it goes together. Hopefully. It's not giving much room. Right, so I'm potentially going to have to cut this. So I'll probably measure at top end, see what the width is, and try and work out from there. So marked up, we'll start cutting. And it's out. Okay, so now we're going to see if my calculations were right. It's always doubtful. I think that's alright, you know. I mean, there is a big gap, so that's going to have to be kind of fixed. But if I was going a bit further back, about there, maybe, we'll see. A lot of this project is trial and error. As you can see behind me, the frame is now cut down. That's because we've obviously built the front axle with the drive, and then the rear axle with suspension. I wasn't going to go with suspension, I was just going to fit it as just a normal single axle. However, less fabrication, easier job in the end. So if I'll take it to the back now, I'll walk you through what the idea is. So what we've got here, obviously, the rear axle, I've swapped this round so there's a bit more room, but the plan is to basically rear mount the engine here, missing all of this delightful stuff, and same on the front. We've got this kind of laid out where it's going to be. I do need to do some more cutting to get it to fit right, and then we're going to direct drive it to a steering wheel, sit here, and yeah, that's where we're at. Whether it's going to work, don't know, but we carry on anyway. I've just cut these bits out. Yes, I know it'll weaken the frame. However, I am going to reinforce that with some of the steel that I used for the workbench. So I have fit it so that I can attach this bit onto here, and then hopefully weld the frame in place so that it kind of has a bit of give, so its suspension will work. But I've got to crack on and cut some more metal. So I've just been playing around with some of the design. So we have now two supports. This, in theory, should support the bracket. I've just loaded it inside without welds or anything like that, just literally rested on each piece of metal and it held. So what I'm going to do next is get these tacked in, fitted, and then look to get the rest mounted. The problem that I'm having is because I'm on my own, trying to lift up the suspension, the front axle, to fit within it, whilst keeping it in the right position, is turning into a bit of a chore. So I might have to call it for today and continue this another day, but we'll just have to see. At the moment, it's looking like I'm going to need a hand, or I'm going to need some way to kind of prop it up and keep it held in place whilst I do it. And right now, I haven't got the facilities / space / anything to do that. So I'll be back and we'll have to see how we get on. Everyone, we are back. Today, we're going to get some of the support bars fitted onto it. We're going to weld it. I'm going to hope for the best. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll crack on with it anyway, and we'll see how we get on. Probably needs a bit more securing, but it's pretty solid. I think it is. Didn't quite get this bit on film, just because I've been having to try and work out how to do it, where to balance it. I've ended up having to put it up on bricks, but I'll just give you a quick whirl of where we're at. So as you can see, we've got the front bit fitted and welded on. This just needs a bit more tidying up and a bit more welds on the inside and stuff like that. We've then got this. Turns out the front bit here, or the front bars, are not balanced. They're not straight or anything, so I've had to put this at a bit of an angle so it fastens properly, but it will fasten to the base securely. So that's where we're at so far. Happy days. Whew, it's hot. Safe to say, that seems to be where we're at. Oh, it's in. It's secure. It's welded-ish. I do need to do a little bit more on the underside. However, I do believe I'm running out of flux core. So, we may only be able to fit the front axle on this for this video. But we will see. I will try and get some more done. I'll get this finished off being welded in once it's cooled down a little bit and I can turn it onto the other side and hopefully remove all the bits and it'll stay. But we shall see. Okay, so it's late on now. I've just got through editing all the stuff. We didn't do any more. And the reason was this thing has now run out of flux core. So I don't actually have any more welding stuff. I still need to do the rear axle. At some point this week, the engine's going to be arriving. I'm hoping that I can get some flux core, but we will see. But for now, that is going to be the end of this video, and we will be continuing with this. Sorry I couldn't get any more done, but hopefully in the next video, we'll be able to get this with the rest of the bracing done, the rear axle fitted, and possibly the engine mounted. Unsure yet, we will see. But yeah, that's where we're at. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.